With the NBA draft lottery less than a month away, today I want to simulate it and make a mock draft based on the order. So if you guys like my content, make sure you like and subscribe. Let's try to get 18 likes on today's video. And I know you right there, Jimmy, you watch the videos, but you haven't subscribed. You might as well click that button and let's hop into it. For today's video, I'm going to be using a site called Tankathon to simulate the lottery, and our first simulation is pretty interesting. There was a lot of movement. Today, we're focusing on the top 10 picks, so coming in at 10, we've got the Hornets falling 2 spots from their projected landing. Then we've got the Knicks falling 3 spots down to the 9th pick. The Pistons are falling 3 spots to 8. The Hawks drop down to 7. The Cavs come into the lottery tied for the best odds at the number 1 spot, but land at 6. Then the Warriors fall to 5, and it gets pretty crazy after that. The Bulls jump up to number 4. The Timberwolves land at their projected spot at 3. The Wizards climb from the projected 9th spot all the way to number 2. And finally, the number 1 pick is in the hands of the Phoenix Suns, who currently hold the 10th best odds at the number 1 slot. They got this selection with just a 3% chance. I think it's pretty clear the direction the Suns would go if they actually landed this number 1 pick. The point guard position is the obvious spot for them to address going into the future, and with that being the case, they don't overthink it and go with Lamelo Ball. This would be a very interesting selection, and man, the backcourt duo of Lamelo Ball and Devin Booker would be must-see TV. As of now, there would be a lot of questions on the defensive end, but given Lamelo's size and quickly evolving game, I really wouldn't be surprised if he's much better at the NBA level. Y'all might not remember, but one of Lonzo's biggest concerns coming into the draft was defense, something that has become his strength. The Suns have looked much better as a team this season with a clear playmaker, and with young guys like DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker, and Kelly Oubre only getting better, the Suns would be looking pretty nice. Now we've got the Washington Wizards, and this selection was pretty tough for me. Just looking at it based on need, you can make the case that once getting Wall back, this team is going to at least try to compete in the Eastern Conference, and they should look for an upgrade in the front court with a guy like James Wiseman. But on the other hand, we've seen a lot of trade rumors surrounding this team, especially when it comes to their star guard Bradley Beal. Maybe with them jumping up in the draft, they decide this is the time to rebuild, and they take the best player on the board with Anthony Edwards. Let's not get it twisted. Edwards should be the pick here, but this is a mock draft, and if they had this selection, I really think Wall's return is going to give them too much optimism, and they go with James Wiseman. Real quick, before we get into the next selection, I want to talk to you about some other content that you might not know I'm putting out. I actually have 2 other channels where I post quite frequently. I've got my sports card channel where I've been opening up packs, but I'm going to be doing a lot of sports card investing content. Sports cards are booming, and I'm also going to be doing a lot of face cam videos over there, so if any of that interests you, go check it out. And then I've got my Range football channel where I've been posting for a while now. I know most of you guys are basketball people, but if any of you guys like football, go check that out, and let's get back into the video. And then we've got the Timberwolves at 3. This is one of my favorite spots in the draft. I'm excited to see what the Timberwolves can do with a full season of both D'Angelo Russell and Karl Anthony Towns. Potentially adding a top 3 pick to this group makes their future very interesting, especially if they end up giving Malik Beasley a new contract this offseason. Now, as far as this specific pick goes, despite them going up to number 6 a year ago to draft a wing in Jarrett Culver, he's had a pretty slow start, and with there being a clear top player on the board, they go ahead and get Georgia shooting guard Anthony Edwards. We're seeing some very exciting backcourts formed early on in this mock draft. We saw Lamelo and Booker, and now D'Angelo Russell and Anthony Edwards. If the Timberwolves are actually in this situation, they should not overthink this. You take the best player on the board and a 6'5" shooting guard with a 6'10" wingspan who just averaged 19 points a game as a freshman. Then we've got the Bulls at 4. This pick is another tough one. I'd be very interested to see Lamelo go to the Bulls, but that's obviously not an option here. I feel like they're going to go in the direction of a wing or a point guard. I've got a lot of questions about how Kobe White and Zach LaVine will coexist together, but for now, I don't see them grabbing a point guard, but I think it's a strong possibility here. As of now, I'm going to have them going with a foreign wing in Danny Avdija. Avdija is a high upside guy that could possibly jump into a point forward role, and this selection makes a lot of sense given Otto Porter could potentially be hitting the open market this offseason. I'm really curious to see how the Bulls handle this roster over the next couple seasons. There is clearly some great talent, but new contracts have to be dealt out over the next 2 to 3 years, and I just don't know if I see the upside for this roster as of now. I wouldn't be surprised if they're involved in some big trades in the near future. The Warriors come into the draft at 5, which in my opinion makes their decision extremely easy. It really appears that if they don't trade this pick, they're going to go after a front court player. James Wiseman went number 2, so they go ahead and get USC's Onyeka Okongwu. I like this pick for a couple reasons. The Warriors, a team that could be competing as soon as next year, get someone who I think can make an impact for this team immediately, especially on the defensive end. It also gives them flexibility with their roster, given they're adding a high-level rookie contract. It's almost a guarantee that they're going to be in trade rumors this summer. It's unclear if they actually want to test out what they have in Andrew Wiggins, and we're starting to hear the NBA executives think the Warriors should explore moving their 30-year-old former Defensive Player of the Year, Draymond Green. I'm not going to lie, it would be fun to see the Splash Brothers in the backcourt and a young duo of Eric Pascal and Onyeka Okongwu in the front court. This is another team that I have a feeling could look a lot different at tip-off of the 2020-21 season. The Cavs are on the clock at 6, and this is a weird spot for them. This is really not the best draft for them in the first place. They've got some promising young guards, but I really think they need to make a decision. Colin Sexton or Darius Garland, especially with what I believe they have in Kevin Porter Jr. I don't think it's best for them to add to their decisions by getting another guard. So I'm going to have them going with breakout sophomore Obi Toppin. Scoring isn't the question for Toppin. He averaged 20 points and 8 rebounds, shooting 63% from the field and 39% from 3, leading Dayton to a 29-2 record. The questions have come on the defensive end, especially when it comes to switching on perimeter matchups, but given he's 6'9", with a reported 7'2" wingspan and a clearly gifted athlete, I don't think these concerns are going to stop teams from taking Toppin at the top of this draft. He's been overlooked every step of the way in his basketball career, and I'm excited to see him prove himself at the NBA level. At 7, we've got the Hawks. It was sad to see them fall in our first simulation, as I really wanted to see them get their hands on Anthony Edwards. He's clearly the best option for them in this draft, but as you know, he is not on the board. So with their front court being established for the moment, and them already having their point guard of the future, I'm going to have them adding to their group of athletic wings with Auburn freshman Isaac Okoro. Statistically, there's not too much to get excited about. He averaged 13 points as a 29% three-point shooter this season. It's his defense that is grabbing the attention of NBA scouts. He's a great athlete with size and strength that can guard multiple positions. His offense has a way to go, but at the least, he's a very solid finisher and great in transition. At this spot, I think it just makes sense for them to add to the pool of wings, considering the direction the league is heading. Coming in at the 8th spot, we've got the Detroit Pistons, who are going to take the second forward prospect off the board in France's Killian Hayes. Hayes is quickly becoming one of my favorite prospects in this draft. He's a 6'5" lefty with a 6'8" wingspan. He has a very promising perimeter shot coming into this draft and is a clearly gifted passer. The biggest questions for him right now is his ability to score in 1v1 settings, but that really shouldn't get teams too worried. With his size and shooting, it shouldn't be a surprise if a team like the Hawks takes a chance on him to be a primarily off-ball player. With Reggie Jackson and Andre Drummond out of Detroit, they are clearly looking into the future, and Killian Hayes, Sekou Doumbouya, and Luke Kennard isn't a bad place to start. The 9th pick is in the hands of the New York Knicks. I think I'm higher on some of their young pieces, such as RJ Barrett, Kevin Knox, and Mitchell Robinson than most, but they need to look for a point guard, and this isn't a bad draft for that to be your hole. In this situation, I like them going with Iowa State's Tyrese Halliburton. If you've been following my channel, you know I've been high on Tyrese for a while now. A lot of these draft experts like to overthink this whole thing. It's very clear why he's a top prospect in this draft. He's a 6'5" point guard with a 7-foot wingspan who is one of the best playmakers in this draft while averaging 15 points, shooting 50% from the field and 42% from 3 as a sophomore. While his upside as a scorer might not be as high as some of the players going around him, I feel he's a very safe selection with underrated upside and the right pick for the Knicks here. But they're probably going to come to the conclusion that taking a power forward is the right move for them. For the final pick of the video, we've got the Hornets at 10. I really like the versatility they have with Miles Bridges and PJ Washington. So I'm going to have them adding to that group, getting a combo guard in RJ Hampton. I feel he's the best player on the board, and in this spot, the best option for the Hornets. His stats from the NBL aren't the prettiest, but that's a pretty common theme from prospects that played there this season and in the past. We can't really take too much away from that, so we're left to assign his draft stock basically on just the eye test. He has great size. He's very comfortable scoring off the dribble and has an exciting jump shot. He has the ability to play both the 1 and 2 and some of the most potential in this whole draft. But these are just my opinions. You guys tell me your thoughts in the comments below. I'm going to have at least one more of these types of mocks before the lottery, so if you guys are excited about that, hit that like button, and these shoutouts are gonna be Peyton, Evan, Typical, Christian, and more. If you guys want to shout out in the next video, as I said previously, go to the football channel or go to the card channel and tell me you're from this video, and I'll shout 5 of you guys out. With all that being said, hope you guys have a great day, and peace.